What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Cinema Essentials. The episode is called Go, and like the saying, 7 o'clock strikes and the late foot betrays, since the 8 masters escaped from prison. That's how this episode got its name. If you're ready, let's start Season 1, Episode 21. I'm your host Theo, by the way. When the walkie-talkie reports that Bellic's car has been found and asks if they should search for Bellic, Scofield tells Warden that he's already met with Bellic. The Warden says, "Max, I've already talked to Bellic. He went into town for personal business. There's nothing to worry about anymore." Scofield says thank you and asks for one more favor, then ties the Warden to a chair. From the walkie-talkie comes, "If guard hears from the dragon, take Lincoln Burrows to the infirmary and keep him there," the Warden had said. Scofield says, "When we escape, look for Bellic in the hole under the guard room. I feel bad for dragging you into this. When the time comes, I'll be able to explain everything." He then puts the Warden in a closet and knocks him unconscious. Then he calls a phone number and pretends to be talking on the phone. When he comes out of the room, he tells the secretary that the Warden is on a phone call inside, and it looks like it'll take a while. Back in the room, it's already 6:55. The next head count is in an hour. "In the meantime, we need to run as far away as possible," he says. Sucre is also listening to Michael's words with excitement. Sitting in the room, before anyone could see, D.B. Cooper is changing his clothes, taking off the bloodied ones and putting on new ones in the middle of the cell. T-Bag and the mafia boss Abruzzi are in rooms on opposite sides of the building, looking at each other from their respective rooms, each lost in their own thoughts. Tweener is using bleach solution to turn his PI uniform white in the toilet bowl, making his shirt white. Putting on the top layer, getting down from the bed, and looking at one wall. When it's time for the big con man hiding in the furnace room to line up, he acts like you are dead. When Scofield asks if Sucre has taken off sync, Sucre says, "Sorry bro, my whole head is spinning," and throws up in the toilet. When Scofield asks, "You alright, big guy?" he replies, "If we get caught, we won't be able to stay another 10 years, little brother." During the hour walk time, the prison break crew quietly brings white shirts to Scofield's cell. When Tweener gives him a shirt, Sucre says, "There are blue stains left on your shirt." Scofield tells them to cover the cell door and says, "I'll handle it." When C-Note enters the hole, the big con man and his gang gather their weapons and say, "We're going to kill this bastard. If anyone else interferes, we'll kill them too." And the whole group heads up to Scofield's cell. The big con man asks Abruzzi if he's seen C-Note, and he answers that he hasn't seen it. The con man says, "You guys really love each other, don't you? Now all of you get out of the way," and enters the room to check, but Scofield asks if there's something he needs. The big con man's group, not finding C-Note, leaves unsatisfied. At this time, C-Note is hidden behind the basin that Scofield had moved. Nick Savrin explains the situation to Veronica. "When this case started, Abruzzi's side contacted me. They said they'd help free my father. What I told you before, I lied. Actually, my father is still in prison. If we can capture you and make you tell us where Fibonacci is, Abruzzi's people will reveal who the real killer is in my father's murder case. In return, my father will be completely free." While they're talking, the phone rings and Nick answers, saying everything's okay, let's go, and pulls Veronica away, saying it's time. As 7 o'clock approaches, D.B. Cooper enters the hole first, Tweener second, Westmoreland third, and Fatty Sanchez, who was stuck in the hole, gets kicked into the hole by T-Bag. Then the remaining people Abruzzi, T-Bag, Sucre, and Michael follow. When they reach below, the hole asks about the situation, and Scofield says, "Hurry up, we are already 10 minutes late." Since the rope tying his hands and feet had broken, Bellic rubs the tape on his mouth against the rough concrete edges of the pipe opening until it breaks off. The escaping group also follows Michael through the pipe so they don't get lost. When the tape falls off his mouth, like a samurai being bitten by a mosquito, Bellic weakly shouts, "Help me." While Bellic is shouting, luckily Scofield's group arrives, so T-Bag covers Bellic's mouth with his hand and holds a knife to his throat. When 2 guards come back into the room after hearing some noise, they find nothing and say, "There's no one here," and leave again. Even though Bellic is captured, he keeps talking in that annoying tone, so C-Note tells him to shut his mouth. As Tweener comes down, Bellic trying to talk, but Tweena punches him once and covers his mouth with tape again so he can't make noise. Teabag looks at Bellic with a sweet smile like looking at a lover's face. Putting on the white shirts and waiting as Scofield instructed, he puts on Bellic's jacket and leaves alone from the front to do what needs to be done. He blows the powder he brought in his pocket onto the door opening button and tries different number combinations until he gets the 4-digit code right to open the door. Sarah, who is thinking by the riverbank, makes a decision and returns to the prison. When she reaches the infirmary, she sees guards bringing Lincoln and watches them while unlocking the infirmary door and entering. Seeing the morphine vial, she remembers the times she used drugs before working at Fox River. At the airfield 10 miles from Fox River, Abruzzi's plane is ready and waiting as planned with his men. Since Scofield hasn't returned yet, Fatty Sanchez gets scared and asks Sucre what they should do. Teabag says, "If you don't want to follow, you can stay behind." When he opens the psychiatric ward's fire alarm, all the crazy inmates come out into the yard. The psychiatric ward supervisor says the alarm button was pressed by mistake and tells them to go back inside. Scofield says he's bringing back those who scattered outside and tells Sucre and the others to line up and enter the building. When the psychiatric ward supervisor notices something's wrong and tells them to stop, Scofield asks if he's seen Abruzzi, saying his mental health condition is quite bad, and asks if he has the medicine he mentioned before, requesting a syringe. Michael takes the syringe and injects the supervisor, who immediately loses consciousness. Driving to a location, he takes off Veronica's white hood and unties the rope on her hands, saying, "I'm taking you to the airport. Go to Montana and investigate the Stedman case," and apologizes for having to do this. As they go down the underground line one by one, when it's Tweena's turn, Scofield stops him saying, "I know you told Bellic about us. I brought you here because of the watch incident. Now we're even, so when you get outside, go your own way." Going through the pipes under the psychiatric ward to reach the infirmary, Scofield signals for them to come one by one while checking the guard's situation. When Scofield's group arrives near the guard, who's sitting waiting and reading a magazine by Lincoln, the guard says, "I only make about $14 an hour. I'm not going to play superhero. You do what you need to do," making it convenient for both sides. Planning to take his father and escape. When he returns home and tells his father to leave, one of Abruzzi's men points a gun at his father and asks where the lawyer is. When Nick says he'll find her and asks for another chance, Abruzzi's subordinate shoots his father and then shoots Nick Savran too. Nick Savran, knowing he's about to die, takes the secret of Veronica's whereabouts to his grave without revealing it. As everyone's hearts are pounding while opening the final door, Scofield turns the door handle and it opens easily. On the other side, Sarah, who had opened the infirmary door, is crying in her car, wondering whether she helped for the truth or helped criminals. Since the warden has been talking on the phone for too long, when they turn on the speaker, they realize it's not a phone call, but a Comedy Channel line that's been left open. They enter the warden's office to check, but the warden is not in his room. They call guards to investigate, but no one saw the warden leave, so everyone is amazed. Scofield's group brings a fire hose to remove the bars from the window gate, tying one end to the window bars and the other end to the elevator handle, planning to pull it out. But when the elevator door closes and opens about 3 times, Tweena enters the elevator and presses from inside, making the elevator work and go up, tightening the fire hose and breaking out the bars blocking the window. While everyone is taking off their PI shirts, the one who comes with a surprise attack is Haywire, carrying a walkie-talkie. "I knew when you entered the psychiatric ward, so I followed you all the way," he says. With no other choice, Scofield agrees to include him in the escape group. Abruzzi says that after Lincoln is done, they'll go through the rest alphabetically from A to Z. He puts the PI shirts on top of Lincoln and tells him to go to the brick wall. When they reach the top of the brick wall, they put the shirts layer by layer on top of the barbed wire and wait. Abruzzi goes first over the wire. As Sucre is going next, D.B. Cooper's condition gets worse. D.B. Cooper says, "I can't go on anymore. Promise me something." The money is buried under the grain silos in the big farm owned by Kunsa, the opium king in Tongi Township, Shan State. He says the government people mentioned $1 million, but there's actually $5 million. Share that money among everyone, including for my little daughter, he says. Both C-Note and T-Bag hear what the old man is saying. 3 guards and the secretary come to check the room again, asking if other places have been searched too. When one guard asks if they've tried calling the warden's cell phone number, the secretary calls and finds the warden in the closet. The warden immediately orders a prison lockdown. Going one by one, only Michael and Fatty Sanchez are left. As Scofield goes ahead and reaches about halfway, the whole prison becomes noisy. As Michael reaches the wall, Fatty Sanchez can't wait any longer and climbs onto the rope. But the rope can't bear the weight and breaks from the infirmary wall. Sanchez falls down. While Sanchez is trying to climb up by pulling the rope, the guards arrive and catch him just as everyone else has crossed the prison wall and escaped. And that's where episode 21 ends. Since we'll be presenting one part of this series every day, please like and subscribe to the Cinema Essentials channel. To all the audience members who support us, may you all be filled with mental health and physical prosperity. That's what we wish for you. Thank you everyone for watching till the end.